Welcome to Dr. Dempsey Unplugged, the podcast for entrepreneurs, dreamers, and doers who are ready to elevate their mindset and business success. Hosted by me, Dr. Angelica Dempsey. This show is all about breaking through mental barriers, stepping into your potential, and turning your vision into reality. Whether you are launching a business, scaling your brand, or simply looking for motivation. Each episode is packed with actionable insights, expert strategies, and raw conversations to help you thrive. Tune in weekly to unlock the mindset shifts, productivity hacks, and success habits you need to win. Let's be real. Starting a new habit is easy, but sticking to it, that's where most people fall off. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how to create habits that actually last. Habits that support your mindset, your business, and growth. Why this episode matters. Your habits shape your future. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of systems. Today, I'm giving you tools to build a system that works. These are some common mistakes. 1, starting too big, too fast. 2, not tracking your progress. 3, lack of accountability. That is a big one. Doozy. 4, relying on motivation instead of structure. And those are just a few. There are many, many more. The mindset shift. Tiny habits create big change. It's not about overhauling your life overnight. It's about mastering consistency in small steps. That's where transformation happens. Here is the 3-step framework for habit success. 1, you want to anchor your habits to existing routines. Don't start from scratch. Tie new habits to things you already do. For example, I drink my morning shake and then I review my goals. 2, make it too easy to fail. Your habit should be so small that there's no excuse not to do it. So think, 1 push-up, 1 journal sentence, 1 social media post. Simple bonds create simplicity. 3, track progress and celebrate wins. When you track things, such as using a habit tracker, every success may be small, but progress is progress, no matter how small. We are live. So, introducing a very, very special guest. Guys, this is absolutely one of my best friends in life. I have known her for more years than I'm going to say because we are about to age ourselves. Her name to me, this is Jessie Pooh, but you know, that's who I call her. I'm going to keep it all the way real. That's who I call her. But without further ado, please introduce yourself. Who are you? Who is the Jessie Pooh to me?
All right. So Jessie Pooh to you, to everyone else would be Jess. And I am a mom. I am a life coach, and I am in the process of being certified to be a grief coach as well. And my full-time job right now, I work with the homeless population. My goal is to steer away from that and, be my own boss in the coaching area. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Nice. Okay. I love it. Well, I know, but they gonna love it too. They gonna love it too. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining. I am so excited to have you here today. Today we have talked a bit about habit behaviors, right? And one thing I like to ask you, how have you developed, or what habit behaviors have you developed in order to be successful in your business?
I think one of the main things for me has been doing certain things consistently. And the main thing is like posting on social media. So when I first started, I wasn't good about posting social media stuff related to my business. Like I'll post on my personal page all day about all sorts of ridiculous things. But when it came down to staying consistent with stuff related to my business, that's not something that I was good at. So doing that, I have set days of the week that I post certain things. I set reminders in my phone to remind myself to do the posts, because the way my brain works these days, if I don't write things down or remind myself, I often forget. So that's the big thing for me. I think you have to people have to see you and know what you're doing and know what you're about in order to know like whether or not you're somebody that they can work with, or, you are offering something that would benefit them. So I think that's the main thing for me.
Thank you for that. Consistency has been very, very popular amongst business owners and individuals who I've interviewed on this podcast. I
Mhm.
too, I definitely agree and truly believe that, success rides on the back of consistency. So thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. Everyone, listen, consistency, be consistent. That's one thing I like to say.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of transition into the questions that I typically ask on this show. And question number 1, can you tell us about the first business that you've ever started and what inspired you to dive into entrepreneurship, and how did that experience shape your mindset?
So the very first business that I ever had was actually, I think it was like one of those MLM things.
Yeah.
Let's all laugh together about that. I mean, no shade to anybody that does that, but that wasn't for me. But I was a Madison handbag consultant.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would like go to people's houses and they got to like pick their fabrics and design their own purses, which at the time I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I love purses and I, wanted to make some extra money. So I was like, this would be a cool idea. So I think that was the first kind of entrepreneurial thing that I did on my own. But when it comes down to like actually having my own business, I had an online clothing boutique that I did. I want to say it was almost 4 years that I had that. And I started that for 2 reasons. One, because I love clothes and I love to shop. And I also love clothes, like they make you feel good. And you know that phrase, when you feel good, you look good. When you look good, you feel good. Like they go hand in hand. So like I like that for myself, but I also liked making women feel good and look good. So that's kind of how that whole business venture started.
Okay. Thank you for that. So every entrepreneur faces challenges. What has been one of the biggest lows in your business journey, and how did you overcome it?
So, there's probably two that I could think of. I mean, I'm sure there's more than two, but the two that come to mind is when I started that business, I literally launched my website and then a week later, the world shut down for COVID. And I
Oh,
was like, this would happen to me. I would start a business and then the whole world would shut down. So that was very challenging because, I was trying to like promote my business and post consistently on social media when like people were out of their jobs, they weren't making money, they were, family members were sick, they were trying to survive. And I'm like, come shop over here and buy my clothes. Like, that was tough for me. And then as far as like my business now with the coaching stuff that I do, I think getting started and not having clients is difficult because, you know, you start something thinking that things are going to go one way and then they don't happen necessarily the way that you anticipate them happening. And that can be a challenge because you think it's going to go this way and then it goes this way.
yeah.
So those would probably be the two biggest things for me.
Yeah. So how are you overcoming your challenges right now? How are you working through them?
I mean, I continue to promote, I continue to post, I continue to do all the things like that. And I'm exploring other avenues of like areas of coaching that I can do. For
Okay.
example, the grief coaching. I lost my sister in August, and grief coaching was never something that had crossed my mind until that happened. And there's a huge demand for support in that area because there's not a lot of it out there.
Right.
So, it's strange. Like I say, I never thought that would be something that I would be so, devoted to and passionate about, but I really am. And it's, there's lots of things that come along with that I'm like, you know what? It's okay that things didn't really go the way that I thought they were going to go over here because there's this other door that has opened up for me that's got all sorts of possibilities. So, yeah.
Yeah. That actually goes right into my next question, right? Mindset shifts, right? So like what mindset shift has been the most critical for you as you've grown in your journey? And how did it impact the way that you approach business? Knowing about like your sister and your relationship and all of that,
Mhm.
and then the shift into grief coaching,
Yeah. Yeah.
there had to be a mindset shift. Like, how did you navigate through that?
So it was tough at first because part of me was like, is this wrong of me to like use what happened there to like make a business out of it? But at the same time, like I'm not just using it to make a business out of it. I'm helping people. There are so many people who have experienced loss. They're dealing with grief. They need support. They don't have it anywhere else. So I'm helping people. It's not just about, making money or having a business. It's literally about helping people because people need support there. And I
Right.
think that has been a mindset shift of like, not focusing so much on that or like what other people might think because of what I'm doing or what they think or what they see. But like the reason why I'm doing it is to help people. And I think
Right.
that's the biggest shift for me in this area.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. Like as a therapist, I validate what you're doing because you're right. There are not many people, and I've been doing this, for a very long
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
There are not many people who actually specialize
Right.
in grief.
Yeah.
Now people will come in, they might have, some extra symptoms of like depression, anxiety, things that, grief might kind of stimulate, but just to wholeheartedly just immerse themselves into grief. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I
Thank
definitely
you.
validate that for sure. You're
Thank you.
welcome. I love it. Okay. What was a high point in your business journey where everything seemed to click? And how did you use that momentum to prepare your to propel your business forward?
I'm gonna go back to the consistency thing
Okay.
because I noticed that when I do that more, it attracts more attention and then it
Right.
makes the momentum kind of go and I think it pushes you more too because you're like, oh, people are seeing, they are interested, they want to know more, they have questions. So it's like it's a good motivator to, when you see the things that you're doing working, it
Right.
pushes you to continue doing those things. And you know it's like a snowball effect but in a good way.
Yep. Yep. It's like you're feeding it and it's feeding you,
Yeah.
and it just keeps bouncing. Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. I definitely do. Thank you for that. I think consistency, right? You just mentioned
Yeah.
that. It's so important. And I want to make sure that, everyone who's listening, you think exactly in the mind state that Jess just mentioned. Like
Mhm.
be consistent. The more
Yeah.
consistent you are, the more successful you'll be.
Yeah.
Period. And that pretty much goes
Yeah.
for everything, not just business, but so many
Yeah.
things like, any area of life for real, like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you maintain resilience during the tough moments in business when things aren't going as planned?
So I am the type of person who always tries to find the good in situations.
Yes, she is, guys.
So
She's like a super happy, supportive. Yes, she is.
and I'll be honest, it's been tough. It's been tougher for me lately with everything that's been going on in my life. But I still do really try to find the positives because some days it might be harder to do that than others, but there is always something good in every situation.
Yeah.
And you might not realize it in the moment, like if you're trying to find the good, but you will after the fact. And I think that's important for people to remember too, because I think sometimes we want the good right now. We want to feel it right now, but it doesn't always click in the moment.
Right.
Um, but I do. I mean, I try to look at, the tough days as learning opportunities and like what is the lesson in this, how can I take what's happening now and apply it so like it doesn't happen again, or so I can tweak things that need to be tweaked so I can make it better on this side. So
Right, right. I love that. I do. I had a previous episode where I was actually speaking with Stay and my
oh,
sister,
okay.
everybody, we call her Stay. Jess knows I told you I'm
Yes.
sister. So we were talking about the importance of a situation that might appear to potentially be a fail, or you just take it completely as a fail. And what you can do, there is positive in that. You can learn from that scenario. If you take a step back, get out of your feelings, push through, learn from it. So one, you don't have to keep reliving it and continue dealing with those sucky moments. But two, that can help you actually like catapult to the next level because you have learned something, So thank you for sharing that, for sure. Okay. What are some habits or practices that you've developed over time to help you stay focused on your long-term business goals?
I write things down.
Okay.
A lot. And I know for some people that's like, people don't do that anymore. Everything goes like in your note on your phone or something like that. But I'm a visual person and I like to actually write things down. And I will often like set a goal for myself and then go back to it to see that I accomplished it. And if I didn't accomplish it, that's okay too. Because again, some things take a little bit longer, but like having a visual representation of what I'm doing, what I want to do, like a plan and that sort of thing. That's helpful for me just to see it and then see like, okay, I did that. Maybe I can do this better. And like, I did this better than I thought I was going to do.
Yeah. You and I are similar. I do like notes in my iPhone, but I don't necessarily use it for like business stuff unless I'm out and about and I don't have, it's like definitely not a first go-to. I'm a writer too. Pen and paper, always. It wins for me. And I encourage that. I even encourage my clients, like when we're working on things, like, listen, you can use your phone. I know you have it with you all the time. However, when it's time to get down to business, visualization many times really helps. And plus you're getting away from that distraction because it's so easy to connect to Instagram or TikTok or, like whatever. Get down to business, remove the distraction. So thank you for that. Okay.
Yeah. I also think there's like power in like writing it as opposed to like typing it in your phone. There's something about like pen to paper that seems a little more.
I want to say I heard something like that before. I mean, guys, don't quote me on this one, but I feel like I heard, something about like some studies that were actually done as it relates to people writing things down and the success that they've had. Now, I think it might be a bit outdated because I don't know if they compared it to actually like a computer or like a electronic device like a phone, but there definitely was some benefits that were shared by some scientists. People, you can just look it up. I agree.
Google, you'll find it.
Like Google, right? Can you describe a moment when fear or doubt almost derailed you and how you made the mental shift to keep going?
I think that fear in the past has stopped me from doing things. Lots of things, business things, just things in my everyday life, but I can't think of a certain example, but the thing that comes into my mind when you ask this question now is I don't let fear stop me anymore. If something scares me, it means I have to do it. So that's probably not really the answer to that question, but like that's where I'm at right now. Like if something is scary, that to me is a sign that I have to do it or I have to try.
Yeah, I love that because the reality is the only way through is through, right? And a lot of times when people have fear of failure, which we actually talked about in a previous episode, what happens many times is people, they become nervous. They allow that to stop them, procrastination, anxiety, all that. But the reality is in order to grow, you're going through the growing pains. So the fear is kind of like those growing pains. Understand that on the other side of fear, you're going to find some type of joy because you will learn something. It may be a tough lesson, but if you really take a step back, you'll be able to learn, okay, well, one, I'm able to conquer the fear, period, no matter what. But also like the only way through fear is to really go through it. So I love the fact that you're like, hey, this is like my cue. Oh, this is fear. Oh yeah, I have to do it now. Like I'm triggered to do it now, So I love that. I love that. Push through. Fear many times is an illusion. It's not as bad as we think, So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And sometimes, sorry, I don't want to quit.
No, you're good. You're good.
Like it might take me a little bit longer to do something.
Yeah.
Because of the fear, but like I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah. And that's important. The reality is fear is supposed to stop you. It's supposed to, it's like something I tell, like what I've said and shared before with like youngsters, like, they're always talking about haters and this, that, and the others. And we'll talk about like haters, like, okay, so what is the job of a hater to do? And they'll be like, hey, and I'm like, okay, so what's the job of a liar? And they'll be like, lie. I'm like, so, when it comes to certain things, like, when it comes to fear, what are you supposed to do? Excuse me, what is fear supposed to do? It's supposed to stop you. Exactly. But you have to understand that fear is just doing its job. That's just what it is.
Yep.
Procrastination, like anxiety, whatever comes from that, it's just doing its job.
Yep.
But you have the choice to push through it. Just because fear is out there doesn't mean you have to allow it to stop you. That's a choice now. Sometimes it's hard, but it is still a choice. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Okay. In what ways has failure helped you to grow as an entrepreneur? Can you share a specific failure that led to a breakthrough or new opportunity?
I think it's helped me grow because it's taught me things. Like, not everything is going to go as you expect it to go. Yeah. And those are opportunities to learn.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think that failing is part of the process. You're not going to get it right the first time you do it. This is the first, and if you do, then that's great. But chances are you're probably not going to get it right the first time you do it. And that's because you've never done it before. And like, that's okay. Right. I'm trying to think of a specific failure that led to a breakthrough. I don't know that I have a specific example. At least one. I'll probably think of one like an hour after we finish on here.
It's okay. It's okay. A lot of times the breakthroughs can come through failure, but they're not always, like, failure isn't necessarily super easy to recognize, especially in someone like you who looks at failure as like, okay, it's something I have to do. So, a lot of times when people think of failure, it's like, it's something I did not continue to do. So you'd be more of the anomaly in that space where, it didn't necessarily stop you in your tracks. So you're going to go through failure anyway. So it makes sense that you're like not able to recall something. Because I think when I objectively look at how you're like identifying failure, it makes sense because it really stop you,
When you say it like that, it makes sense too, because I'm like, I didn't actually fail. Right. I learned and like I used it to move forward. So did I really fail then? I guess I didn't. I don't know.
You did. That's how I'm looking at it. I try to view things objectively and it's like, all right, this was a task and you did it. Yeah. Like, okay, you may have gone through all those things subjectively, but like this was a task and you did it. Maybe it didn't, the end result wasn't what you initially imagined it to be, but you still did it. So that means you didn't fail. So then maybe this answer doesn't apply to you. This question, I should say, doesn't apply, So
no failing over here.
Right, no failing. We don't fail over here, right? Okay. Looking back, how has your definition of success evolved from when you first started your business to where you are now?
I think that it's changed in the sense that I feel like when most of us start businesses, I think we do it, a lot of us, to make money. Mm-hmm. And it's not about that for me. Obviously, if I'm making money, that's great because we all love money. Who doesn't love money? But like, I'm here to help people. That's what I want to do in this life of mine, is help people. So, if I'm doing that, that's what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. I love that. I definitely love that. And that's just showing how selfless you are, in that space. Not everyone is able to truly be honest and say, my goal is to help people. And even if I'm not getting the money aspect, because like you said, growing up, I want to be a business owner. Why? Because I want to be a millionaire. That's just what it is, right? Yeah. But as you continue on, you recognize that it is so much more than just business, or at least what you thought business was. I'm just going to do this. No. It's a whole lot of mindset work and so many different things that you have to go through in order to be successful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are struggling to make that initial mindset shift into seeing themselves as successful business owners?
My advice would be to just try.
Yeah.
Because I hear people say this and I firmly believe it. If you have the thought in your head to do it, it means you're supposed to do it.
Right.
So just try.
Right.
And, and that way you're not left wondering, you don't have the what ifs. You can say, if it doesn't work, at least you can say you tried. And I think that's the biggest thing that I could say is just, if you're thinking about something, take that first step, because that first step is going to lead you to the next step and the next step. And maybe you'll take a couple steps backwards here and there, because again, that's part of the process a lot of the time, but you're never going to advance if you don't take any steps.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with you when it comes to that. I sit and I think, and I talk to so many people about just doing it, just try.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 100 things, and this is something that so many people, if they've been in my sessions, they've heard me say this. If you have 100 things on your mind, if you do one of them, then guess what? Now you're at 99. You don't have to ever worry about that 100th thing. Now, yes, 100 is a big number, but once you start doing that and you're consistent, imagine how low you can get that number, just by trying and seeing, because a lot of those things, you may have imagined them to be one particular way and they're not what you thought. So guess what? Oh, I'm not even interested in this anymore now that I know a little bit more. So put a little effort and energy to it and see, is this something you really want to do? And if so, even the path you think you might have to travel might be a little bit different. So, get ready to buckle in, and get prepared. Right? Yeah. Okay. Last question. What is the best piece of advice that you've been given during your journey, and how do you apply it today?
The best piece of advice is probably to trust myself.
Love that.
Because I think a lot of the times we don't trust ourselves. And that has a lot to do with the outside noise in the world around us, because, people are telling us, oh, well, that's not going to work, or you shouldn't do that, or you can't do that, or you're crazy for thinking that. And no, I go back to my previous answer, is that if you have that thought in your head and a desire, you're meant to be doing it. So I think trusting yourself is huge.
Right. And I love that, because, so much comes from you saying that. A lot of people experience imposter syndrome and they question themselves. A lot of people struggle with like self-worth issues, self-concept issues, self-esteem issues, right? And it's really challenging for them to trust themselves, because they just, they have certain things they're dealing with. But when you say trust yourself, that if anything happens, you're going to protect yourself. You're not going to let anything negative happen to you. So why not give it a try? Because that could be the most rewarding experience you ever had in your life. I definitely appreciate that for sure. Jessie Poo, I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. My goodness, you gave some really, really good and helpful advice. I really hope some of the listeners out there are able to soak some of this up and understand that being a business owner can be very rewarding, but there are some other things that come with it. A lot of mindset challenges that people face. And I really appreciate you coming and just kind of sharing your experiences. So please tell everyone, where can we find you? How can people find you for some coaching opportunities, some grief counseling, and everything else that you're into? Please share.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun, and I love you too. I'm so excited for you for this venture that you're on. So my website for the coaching is www.unapologeticlifecoachingllc.com. It's a mouthful. But you can find everything there. The grief coaching stuff isn't on the website yet, but it will be there soon. So, if anybody wants to reach out to me, they can send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram is unapologetically_overcoming. And then I do have Facebook as well, which is Unapologetically Overcoming the Podcast, because I do also have a podcast.
Yes, guys, tune in. Where you at? How can they listen to your podcast?
So we are on, I said we, it's me. I'm on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
Nice.
And it's Unapologetically Overcoming is the name of the podcast.
Unapologetically Overcoming Everybody. Tune in to Jess, please. Yes. Jess, it was a beautiful, beautiful experience having you here on the show. I really, really am so grateful that you were here. I definitely hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening. And I look forward to having you back one day.
Yes,
Thank you
I
so
would love
much.
that. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. All right. Well, we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.
Thanks. Here's a sneak peek into next week's episode. Next episode, we're going to talk about goal-setting mistakes most entrepreneurs make and how to fix them. If you've been setting goals and not hitting them, you need this one. How can you get involved? Share your favorite habit-building tools or stories at Dr. Dempsey. Your habits are your foundation of your future. Build them with intention, consistency, and grace. If today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. And remember, your mindset is your greatest asset. Let's elevate together.